Welcome to Widowed by 30. We're your hosts, Katey and Taylor. We're here to provide raw truth, guidance, and support to those who may be walking a similar path as ours.
For even those who have no idea what it's like to lose a spouse. So stick around, grab a glass of wine, and hang out as we dive into all things widowhood.
Hello again, everyone. We are
Hi.
back today with the topic of widow brain fog, or widow fog, as they call it. Which, ladies, if you've ever been pregnant and you've heard of pregnancy brain, or I don't know, there was even the saying going around like when COVID was the thing of like COVID brain, where like afterwards your brain is just
Mush.
Um, and the same thing applies after,
Such a loss.
yes, the just a traumatic event in your life. And I'm sure it happens in other aspects of life that we just haven't gone through and, can't relate in that aspect of trauma and things like that. But, us losing our husbands is quite dramatic and traumatic.
Traumatic enough. Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, I don't, and we mentioned it in the last one where this episode is just going to be a lot of, well, yeah, I mean, but, of just because how do we even talk about it? I don't know. We're going to wing this one.
Yeah.
I think, like, for me, one of the biggest things is just remembering anything. Like,
I can agree with that.
remember what I did yesterday or the day before, or I know we talked about this, but what was that conversation even about? Just that constant.
Like,
Like,
for me, like, I even have where for work, because, like, before, Clayton and stuff like that, and I mean, I've always had a bad memory, so I have always my mom says it's because I was a preemie. I don't know. I don't know if it's connected, but I'll take it. I'll use the excuse. But I think that for me, like, I have always, because I can't always remember things. Like, I'm a very like check it off type of person, especially for work. Like, I have a whole checklist of what I got to get done today, and it's so satisfying, like crossing it off. But I even forget to write it down. It's like, okay, yeah, I need to write it down to start, and I forget. And I'm like,
I'll do it when I get
like,
home, and then you get
what
home.
was I supposed to put down there? And then, like, yeah, it just like trickles down, and it's like, how can I be successful, in real estate? Let alone, like, if I don't have the means to like go down my checklist and check everything off and make sure I'm not forgetting everything. And I mean, somehow I manage, I always do, and it comes back to me sometimes, but not always. And like things with the kids, like, oh, I need to get milk. I need to get this, and I'm a with the kids.
The grocery store is
little.
the worst one, where it's like, oh, I only need 5 things, and I get to the grocery store and I'm like, okay, I
What were
only
those 5
remember
things?
one.
Yeah.
And
It's
I'm always
so
calling
annoying.
Maddie or whoever that I talked about it with, and I'm like, what was it I was supposed to get again at the grocery store?
Yep. Yeah. That's that's hard. And like, I don't even, because I don't cook, I'm like, I don't even know the ingredients that I need. Like,
Oh,
like I just need like the basic stuff, right? To like survive pretty much.
Yeah.
And be able to make the kids what they'll eat because they're so picky. But that's just like one little aspect of it. But I mean, there's just so much that go into, like scheduling doctor's appointments, and like especially River, because she does have health conditions. And so I have to make sure like she's like scheduled out. So like what I've kind of had to focus on, or like anytime I go, is like, all right, let's go ahead and schedule her next appointment, because I know they're going to call me or notify me before it's time.
Yeah.
Like, I need to do her checkup, her 2-year checkup. She just turned 2, and I'm like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, and then I just forget.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel so dumb. Like,
oh my God.
like And that's hard because, coming from being pretty organized and like doing things like
Yeah.
that because of my memory already, and then literally just like not having any motivation and just your brain just being like, I don't even, like, I could be mid conversation. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, and it's
Never
like
mind.
there's that
Like,
saying of like, she's a blonde, so she's dumb. And I mean, neither one of us are blondes, but it's like you have those moments where you're like, I'm a dumb blonde. Like, because you just
yeah,
can't remember anything. And I have always been so good with my memory. Like, we could schedule something 6 months in advance, and I never had to put it in a calendar or write it down or whatever. Or if
that's
I had
impressive.
if I had like the things I needed to get done in a day, like I just had it in my mind and I would do a mental checklist. And it's
Yeah.
like now I have so many apps on my phone to help me keep my life organized because like my memory and my brain is literal mush,
Hmm.
and with Maddie, which right now with it being summertime, it's not too bad as far as like with her, but once school starts, between school and school activities, dance, cheer, art,
Yeah.
all of these things she's involved in, then you add all of my shit into the mix. I'm
Hmm.
like, oh my God, what the hell am I going to do? So
I
it's
don't
like
know.
I made us like down the hallway, like a command center of like a calendar, our daily checklist, like this, and this, where it's there. And then I also have it on my phone where like just that constant check in. Okay, this is what I was supposed to do today. Because if I do not write it down or have something notifying me, you can forget it. Like,
It's just so overwhelming because
it
even like
is.
even with the checklist or whatever it is, you still forget. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then you just forget. And then like that notification's gone because,
Yeah.
oh, the timer came up, right? So, like, all right. And then a few days go, like, there's still things that I need to do that I've gotten bills from Clayton, and stuff that I need to call or like turn off credit cards, and things like that, or change the kid's 529 into my name. And
Hmm.
it's like all of these, of course, it can't just be like a simple, here's the death certificate,
Yeah.
transfer it. Like, I have to fill out
It's
all
a
these
whole
new
process.
paperwork and like things like that to put it into my name. And have had that for like 3 weeks to a month, and it's still sitting in the exact same spot. And I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And then I just don't. And then I sit down and I look at it and I'm like, I'm mentally not okay right now to do this.
Yes. And
And
that's the other
so
thing. It's like there's days where we get up and we have the motivation to just knock out
knock stuff
10
out.
things
Yeah.
on our list. But then tomorrow, I'm not doing shit. Like,
Hmm.
I just do not have the mental capacity to deal with anything. Like I
I
can't
know.
focus and function because all I can think about is Josh or how pissed off and angry and upset I am
Yeah.
to function like a normal human being. And it
I
freaking
know. And
sucks.
that's such a struggle for me with diving into real estate literally the month he died,
Yeah.
because I was like, my mental health at that time was like, I'm a fucking wreck. But you know what?
Yeah.
This is going to keep me going. And so I was like, go, 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 go. And now, like, I went from like killing it. And I mean, I'm still like, I'm still grateful for every opportunity that was like given to me, things like that. And I'm still working. So that's not the case. But I am not working as much as I was 3 months ago. And
Right.
it's like because I started to really grieve the last few months, like we talked
Yeah.
about in the last episode or one of the episodes prior. And now it's like yes, I need to be busy to kind of keep me from being sad and like, in this little
Hmm.
funk. But then at the same time, sometimes like I just need a week to not do
Yes.
anything. But in
And
real
to
estate,
just focus
you can't do
on your
that.
grief.
Yeah,
Yes.
but like I can't, and so it's like, how do I balance that
Right.
without disappointing people from my brokerage, or,
Right.
making sure that my clients are 100% taken care of. And I delegate very well for
Mhm.
my situation when it comes to real estate. So like that hasn't really been, I haven't had any issues with like not being there for my clients,
Yeah.
XYZ. But for me, for my mental capacity of it, it's like I I just don't know. And I sometimes need to, if I want to take a few weeks off, I should be able to take a few weeks off as long as I have a game plan of like, all
Right.
right, like, I still have bills to pay end of the day,
Mhm.
and I can't just stop. But when you're going through something that's traumatic, sometimes you just need to stop because you literally can't, like, you feel like
You can't function.
one thought in your head takes up your entire brain because it just is so mush. And like that
Yeah.
mush is like the perfect word for it. It really is.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'm going crazy 99.9% of the time.
I'm right there with you.
And then
It's
I just
just
cry because I'm like, do I cry? Do I laugh? Like,
right, because then
what do
you
I
get
do?
overwhelmed with like, I have all this shit to do, and
Yeah.
my list keeps getting longer and longer. And it doesn't matter if I have a good day where I check 10 things off. Tomorrow, when I have the bad day, I add 10 or 12 more
Yep.
things to it. So,
Hmm.
and then it's just like, oh my God, what am I doing? How am I going to get through this? How am I going to get things done? And then, like, on the personal side of things, in regards to like Josh and Clayton, nobody else can do that shit for us. Like,
Exactly.
you're having to handle Clayton stuff, I'm having to handle Josh's. You can't delegate that.
Hmm.
And there's so
I will say,
many.
I will say that Clayton's sister Carly, she, if I'm like here, like I physically, mentally cannot do this, she'll do it for me. But then like I struggle with like it's not her responsibility, it's mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not fair. But it's just like that stuff is like that is they need my signature. They need this. Like it's something like you said
Everything
that
falls on you.
yeah,
Yes. And it's like my parents would help out in a heartbeat, but I have to do
have to
it.
do it.
And I'm also kind of like a control freak in a sense as well, where it's like I want to know it's done correctly the first time. So just let me do it, so I know like it's not going to come back up for me to have to handle something else. And like, yeah,
So
my parents could do
that's
things,
that's
but
funny because I'm actually like at this point in my life, I'm like the complete opposite. I'm just like I
really,
don't want to do it. Like I don't even care if it's wrong. Just get them off of my back for a little bit because I am drowning. Like I
oh,
just can't do it. And so I'm like, if it's
yeah,
wrong, they'll call us. Just sign it, send it, check. Like it's off my
yeah,
list. So
yeah.
that's
I'm
funny because I'm
I'm the
like the complete
complete
opposite.
opposite of that. Like, I want to physically see it or talk to somebody and know, okay, this is done. Like, because then I write my notes. That way, if anything comes back up in the future, I'm like, this was said on this
See,
day. I
I've
talked
been
to this
really bad about
person.
that too. That's smart. That's
Yeah.
really smart because, like, I mean, I have like a filing cabinet that has everything in there, like important things, like, okay, this was his life insurance,
Hmm.
put away, things like that. But confirmations, it's like I'm so bad about putting them in my notes in my phone and then
Hmm.
forgetting they ever existed because I
Yeah.
forget everything.
Right. Yeah. I know. I bought a notebook specifically for all of Josh's shit that I'm handling. That way I
Yeah.
can, each page is dedicated to this credit card or this whatever. That way, if something comes back up, I just flip through, okay, this. Nope, that's not what they told me, because I can't ever remember shit. So it's like
Yep.
I have to write it down to remember,
Yep.
just in case that comes up. You get burned one time with something like that in your life. And granted, I've never gone through this, but like, oh, well, we didn't receive your payment for this. Well, no, because here's the confirmation number that I paid for this.
Yeah.
So,
See, I'm bad about
just
having everything on
having,
auto pay, and I'm just like I had that conversation yesterday. I said I have to have everything on auto pay. If
oh,
I
yeah,
don't, I'm not paying it.
Oh.
I'm gonna forget. Like,
And I was the complete opposite before his accident. Like, I had to go into everything and pay it and know and this and that. Now it's everything is set up on auto pay, and going through and
like if I'm pulling from
he
save,
had
like I'll go and pull from savings once a month or whatever to make sure my bills are gonna be covered, and then like that's
yeah.
all I'm doing because you're not gonna get much more out of me. Call me if my phone goes, or call me if something gets turned off, and I'll turn it back on. Like I just can't physically do it
Yeah.
or mentally do it.
Well, and I learned my lesson with that because our water bill, like I said, I had nothing set up on auto pay. And then our water bill 2 months in a row, I logged in and paid it. And I even took screenshots, but it was the screenshot of the like pre-confirmation page that it was like review
You didn't
your
like
payment
press like
and then you
process.
press yes.
Oh
And
no.
thankfully, like the few ladies that run the water company around here, like she messaged me on Facebook. She was like, "Hey, like I don't know if like you're aware, but," and I was like, "What is she talking about? Like I've made these payments," and I sent her screenshots, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I never freaking actually confirmed the payments." I was like, "Okay, I need to get my shit together. My water's gonna be cut off. We're not gonna be able to shower." Freaking out.
But
But
yeah,
it was
that's just like another thing of like it's you really
like
think
I
that you're
was
doing
not
everything
paying
you're supposed to
attention.
do, and you're not. Like you're
Oh
not
my
because you're on
god.
autopilot.
Yes.
And you're just not physically there. Like
Yeah.
I can be having a detailed conversation with somebody, and I'm like, what did we just say? Like,
Oh my god. It's so bad. Jackie and Selwyn that you finally got to meet
yes,
Friday night. Her and I were having a conversation about something, and she's like, "Yeah, I know. Selwyn said when we did blah 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 blah," and I was like, "When did that happen? Like, was I there for that?" And it's just like life is just like this big blur in front of your
hmm
eyes, and you're just completely oblivious to what's
to
happening
everything.
because like your brain cannot mentally, emotionally, physically
Yeah,
focus on anything.
yeah, exactly. And it's just like you are surviving at this point in our lives, and we're making sure our kids are taken care of, and that's really the only thing that
Yes,
matters. Like everything else is just like, well,
I know.
whatever. It is what
I
it
know.
is.
And there's so many times where I just find myself like just sitting, like just staring off into space. And then it's like, how long have I been sitting here like this? Or how long have I been having this conversation with someone and they've been talking? Like, did I respond? Did they say something I should have acknowledged? Because
hmm
your mind just goes like
I know, like
way.
there's times that I'll be holding my phone now. I'm like about to do something, and I'll just stare at it for like 10 minutes, and then I'm like,
What was I gonna do?
yeah, and then I'm
It's
like, whatever, and I just put it down.
yeah. Or you walk into a room and what did I come in here for? Which I mean, people talk about that happening all the time, but it's just at a
hmm
whole different level.
And it's not just widows, like or widowers,
No.
like it's for anybody that's lost somebody, and I think that's just part of. For one, I think that it is our brain, like protecting us in some sort of way,
Mhm.
because I think if everything is like pushed to the surface, then like we're not going to be okay. And
Right.
then I also think that it's like God protecting like our mental health at this time, because
Yeah.
he probably knows, like, or he does know, he knows everything, but like, he knows if he allows that one thought or that one thing to come to my head, I'm going to fall apart.
You're done
And
for the
like,
day.
yeah, and like that's just not an option.
Yeah.
That's what I always
Right.
say, like it's not an option, it's not an option. And people are like, but I mean, it can be an option. I'm like, no, it's not, because then I let it slide once, and then it's a downhill effect, and I'm not doing it. So
Yeah.
another conversation. Ugh, stressful.
Yeah. It
Um,
is.
but yeah, I mean, I just think that it's okay to not be okay. Like I've said numerous times, and it's okay to not remember everything. Don't feel bad about it because you can't help it.
Right. And we're
And
able to use that
nobody should hold that
excuse.
against you. Yeah, and nobody
Right.
should hold it against you. And if they do,
Yep.
I just, yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I have for this.
Me
I
too.
know it's
Like
short
we
and
said, it was
sweet,
going to be
and
kind of a basic,
yeah,
shorter episode just because there's only so much you can really talk about it. So I
yeah,
think that's all
and
I have.
yeah, me too. Don't be too hard on yourself. It's like one of the things that I can say that to anybody that's going through this. Don't be hard on yourself, because it's okay that you don't remember things. It's okay that you didn't fulfill your checklist of the day, whatever it is, because most of the time in this time of grief, like, you're just surviving, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Eventually, you'll get to a place where you can
can
start.
tackle things.
Yeah, but if you're not there, then you're not there, and
Yeah.
ask for help.
And a lot of the things on those lists are things that can wait. Like it's not
Yeah.
life or death situations where it's
See,
like,
but then
oh
it's
my
like
God,
a
this has
struggle,
to get done.
because then that's where you're like, no, I can't rest until that's how I used to be. Is it's like if I had 5 things on a list, I was not stopping until all 5 of those
Until
things
all
were
of
done.
it was done.
But now I'm just like, I don't want to even look at the list. Like, don't even give me it.
I know. Well, there's like on my kind of main screen on my phone, once I like unlock it, I have like my notes, my to-do list, things like that. And there's some days where I go and like remove it and move it to like one of the side
The
screens
back
because I
ones.
don't want to look at it because it's staring
Fair.
at you in the face.
Yeah.
But then it's like
yeah.
I also need it there
To remember.
to remember. So it's just like, well, I don't go to that third screen on my phone very often. So let's move it over there. And then tomorrow, if I wake up and I'm motivated, I move it back. Just
Yeah.
the simplest things to just prevent yourself from letting your mind feel stressed when it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
So
I agree. But yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. As always, we love you guys and we appreciate you watching. And we will see you next week.
see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.